And we are live. Episode 108 of the RINO podcast. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday to you. This is your favorite, the number one conservative podcast in Massachusetts. Go to patreon.com/RhinoPod. Only $1 a month. We just did a great recap of the state committee races, available exclusively on patreon.com/RhinoPod for only $1 a month. Caitlin, how are you?
I am so good this week, Jeff. It's been good. Other than the fact that you can probably tell by my face that I had an extreme retinol reaction, and it's all completely almost all healed except for the red part right here. So it looks like I have birthmarks on my face. But sorry, that's just me oversharing and being completely honest.
No, you mentioned retinol. That over Christmas, and this happened. There's a TikTok trend, and where pre-teens, like 9 and 10-year-old girls. Did we talk about this?
We have not talked about this, but we can talk about this.
Well, let's talk about it quick. We got a lot to cover.
It's extremely harmful. Okay, like we talk about. I mean, right now it does relate to current events, right? So, like right now, the House passed a bill to either force the sale of TikTok or ban it, based on national security concerns. This has been a ongoing trend within the right. I actually support this measure. I support it for several reasons, because TikTok sells your data to the Chinese Communist Party, and that's what they do. And right now, Donald Trump came out against the bill. There was some speculation due to higher up at TikTok donated to his campaign, and he's kind of done a 180 on the issue and all of that jazz. Okay, but besides the point.
Unsurprising.
Unsurprising. I don't remember when it was, but I want to say it was within the last year that on TikTok there was this TikTok skincare is like huge, right? It's the same for Instagram as well. And I post what I use on Instagram as well. Like I relate to this. But was this trend on TikTok where these young girls, like 9, 10, 11, 12, were posting about their skin routines and how Drunk Elephant, which is a skincare company, is marketing their products to very young, like preteens and teenagers,
like
okay?
9 and 10-year-old girls. Yep. And maybe even younger in some cases. Yep.
So I'm going to straightforwardly say this as a person who's interested in skincare. Like I get Botox, I get facials, I get microneedling done. Like I'm at an age now, I just get that stuff done. Okay. I try to take care of my skin as much as possible. Before I got several rounds of microneedling done, I was able to handle retinol on my face. And what retinol is like it's vitamin A. It's like a derivative of vitamin A, and it causes your skin to I don't want to say regenerate, but exfoliate and create new cells. Okay, like it forces that process. And so like the thought behind it is that it would help with fine lines, and it's an anti-aging product. Okay. Drunk Elephant, the original point of contention was that Drunk Elephant was marketing that type of product to young preteens. And so 12-year-olds don't need retinol. I'm just going to preface it by this saying right now, they're 12. They don't need retinol. They don't even really need vitamin C. Vitamin C is an antioxidant that people put on their skin in order to prevent aging during the day. Most people wear vitamin C during the day. And these skincare companies were kind of promoting this through TikTok, because a lot of studies now are saying that like preteens and teenagers are really obsessed with this app and looking through it, promoting it, posting and all this other stuff. There's lots of viral trends on it, and it's not a good thing.
No.
It's not a positive. So that's essentially what that trend was. I will say right now, again, 12-year-olds, all you need to do is wash your face at night, put on a basic moisturizer, and maybe wear sunscreen during the day. That's all you need to do for skincare. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. No. But TikTok really was exploiting their youth, their naivety, naivety or whatever, in order to push this marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, TikTok is really toxic. It
No,
really.
it's bad. There's nothing redeeming on TikTok. TikTok. There's nothing redeeming on it. There are some redeeming things, well, on the other social media apps. But the biggest problem that I have, where you can tell the compromised people like Tucker Carlson, Ayanna Pressley. There's a weird confluence of freak right and hard
straightforwardly,
left.
I trust. I will say this, and it's something I completely trust them. I trust Facebook a lot more than I trust TikTok. The reason why, Mark Zuckerberg lives in the United States.
Mm-hmm. And
he has to run his company under our rules.
It is not a free speech issue to ban a foreign adversary's technological spying capabilities in the United States. That's not a free speech issue. It's a national security issue.
China bans Twitter and Facebook. Like, this is not, it's not even up for discussion with me. If TikTok is taking our data and they're selling it to China, that means that our data is going into their database and they can utilize it any way that they want to. That's scary.
They could get real creative on this. And by the way, there's nothing on TikTok inherently that you couldn't do on Instagram or Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. There's nothing. It's just videos. It's stupid videos.
Well, I think TikTok has reached a maximum, right? So, like, if you're looking at like Facebook, right? I've been on Facebook since the beginning, and Instagram. Instagram was bought by Facebook, so it's now under Meta. I feel like Instagram has the ability to change and become things that people really want. TikTok is reaching a level of it's stacked in what it can provide as an app, but the kids love it.
Yeah. It's super addicting. Look, social media is addicting. In my house, my daughter will not be allowed social media. We actually, I went out to dinner last night and I was talking to her and I was like, actually explaining this whole thing, not about the skincare issue, but that actually came up over Christmas this year. I'm like, where is this coming from?
Your daughter,
she wanted Sephora and what's the other one? Ulta Beauty, like just tons of crap. I'm like, you don't want other like clothes? And like, yeah, sure. But like, it was a thing. And they did a very good job of it. So much so that I actually started looking on, I was like, all right, who owns Sephora? And it's like the conglomerate, French conglomerate that owns Louis Vuitton and a whole bunch of, and Hennessy and all.
It's like
LVH, LVFF, yeah. But anyway,
and by the way, those brands have gone to shit, by the way. That conglomerate has really killed these brands. Sorry, this is a side note tangent. Like, Pharrell at Louis Vuitton, like, I do not like the fashion that Louis Vuitton is putting out at right now. Gucci is bullshit. Like, what is this crap? But side note...
There's a whole episode we could do on that alone. But it would.
And Jeff is literally will just sit there and be like, "Okay, time to let."
No. There's like I'll. Okay, all right. We're gonna go there. We're gonna go there real quick. There was a point years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, where a lot of hip hop artists were rapping about, because they rap about money and making money and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But they were in their songs, they were talking about sipping Moe. Or Dom Perignon.
Yep.
And these were European brands, stuffy, centuries-old European brands. Now they're associated with hardcore rap. So they had a branding decision to make. And it was like they did not like their brands being mentioned in these songs. So regardless, decades later, this is actually followed the steps of the conglomeration of it, where there's sort of this through line of where American culture and old school European companies have intersected. But that would actually make a very interesting business article for a magazine. But all right, we got to get back on track.
Okay. Well,
but TikTok, I support the TikTok banning at minimum divested from the
for national security purposes, Jeff. Like, bottom line, like and also foreign policy, right? Like, so if China is going to be our major foe, right? Like, and that's the thing. Like, the libs always go back and forth on whether China or not is our major foe. China released a pandemic that slowed our entire global economy down and all of this other stuff, and you just want to give him a slap on the wrist because of your American large L liberalism, international democracy. Meh, 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 meh. I don't agree with you. Okay, we went through like 4 years of hell with this, okay? Like, and we're still reeling with inflation because inflation, we just got the rates for the numbers for February, like consumer goods went up. We're still reeling from it, okay? Like, and also along with this, China bans our social media companies. You want to know why they ban our social media companies? Because there's a democratization within Facebook. When you post on Facebook, you post your personal opinion, whether or not it's positive or negative, that's a subjective thing for another part of it. But you're allowed to give your personal opinion freely on Facebook, okay? Within their content moderation, okay? But you're still able to do it. In China, you don't really have that access on their personal social media. They do have social media companies over there, but it's heavily moderated by government controls.
Yeah.
Okay. And they ban ours. Okay. They ban ours. They ban Facebook. They ban Twitter over in China. Yeah. And then we're supposed to be like, well, no, we should keep, neoliberalism and we should keep TikTok.
It's bullshit.
I'm so sorry. I actually don't care about this. Like, I have gone off on liberalism in the past, and I agree on some of the points. But we should ban TikTok based on national security purposes. They take our data and they put it in their own databases, and they now have data on all of these kids in the United States.
But aside from the actual practical things we just mentioned of the real reasons why it should be banned, the very simple, and this could go either way. Whatever party that the Chinese Communist Party decides to influence or redirect towards support or against on TikTok, sometime in October, late October, they get a trend going on TikTok that influences millions of votes.
It's also true.
What do you think is going to happen? Like, what do you think they're not going to do that? Do you think they're not going to do that? They're absolutely going to do that.
I think people rip on Facebook a lot because Mark Zuckerberg is the head of Facebook and all that. He's testified in front of Congress. I don't think that criticism is unjustified. I will say that, but I tend to trust Mark Zuckerberg as an American more than I do TikTok. Because TikTok, all the people right now, because they, started regurgitating Trump's point on this, it's based out of Singapore. I'm sorry, but I don't trust anything that's tied to the Chinese Communist Party. You can argue all day long it's based out of Singapore, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Ban it.
It's again bullshit. It's like
if there is a viral trend on TikTok. I mean, we already see these trends where these kids are literally being like, Osama bin Laden is right.
Yeah, that happened.
Like, is that healthy? No, because he was wrong.
Two things from my end to close this out. One, a few months ago, Tom Cotton dragged the CEO of TikTok, who kept saying, "I'm from Singapore. You're not, and you have no connection to the Chinese Communist Party." No, I'm from Singapore. I'm from Singapore. That was like the defense, and all the dumb libs, the Elon says it, the NPCs, as it were.
But the thing is that the CEO of TikTok, every single time he goes before Congress, he talks about this. He cannot definitively answer whether or not Beijing has influence over this.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not, because it does.
Because he knows that if he says no and it comes out that it's yes, that's for sure they're banning it. So he's trying to see the waters by saying this.
Yeah.
TikTok has an incredible lobbying apparatus that they're trying to use in DC right now. I mean, this CEO will literally walk around DC because he knows that this app is about to get banned or they're going to force the sale of it to an American.
Yep.
I don't even think forcing the sale of it will even solve any of these problems, but
no, I think there's too much backdoor technology that would
exactly
still in play. So the ban is probably the better aspect of this. and also for Zuckerberg, he's accountable. He's been dragged in front of Congress a bunch of times. So he's there. He lives in the States. You can go, the government, if he did anything nefarious, they could get him. Yeah. All right. So I got the headline that pissed me off yesterday, and I kind of went off a little bit on Twitter, X, and rightfully so, because it's a garbage take. I'll put it on screen for the audience here from our frenemy. Nah, she's an awful person. Yvonne Abraham. Republican seize on alleged rape at Rockland shelter to further the fiction of a migrant crime wave. The article goes on. This infuriates me. She can, one, go fuck herself.
Wow.
The one
pretty hard language,
because this it's like the usual liberal playbook is to, when something doesn't look good for the policy positions of the left and the Democratic Party, you ignore it or you spin it. Or the traditional Republican seize, it's like there's usually some corruption going on, and we call it out. And they go, well, Republicans seize on possible ethics violations of blah, 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 blah. Sure. This is just so rote at this point. But this one, it's like we seize on the rape of a 15-year-old girl at a migrant shelter because she shouldn't have been there to begin with. And she should have, and even though she was there, she wasn't protected and safe. And she wasn't protected and safe because we have incompetent governance. And she shouldn't have been there because we have incompetent governance. And you're going to fucking defend that governance. You're going to defend that policy position by Republican seize. Yvonne, yeah, you're goddamn motherfucking right, we seize. So much to the point where we should get T-shirts. And it should just be like Republican seize on the front, and on the back, Republicans pounce. And a big middle finger to shitbags like Yvonne Abraham, which is just such scummy fucking behavior that you would defend the Democrat Party over a 15-year-old girl getting raped and us calling it out. And this is a major problem in Massachusetts, across the country. There is a crime wave taking place, and there is serious problems in the Commonwealth that are being ignored and pushed aside and swept under the rug by people that you support and whose policy positions you back. And it's your fault. Yvonne, it's your fault. It's Maura Healey's fault. It's Kim Driscoll's fault. It's Elizabeth Warren's fault. It's Ed Markey's fault.
Every single congressional rep it's their fault. It's Seth Moulton's fault.
Yep.
It's Jay Auchincloss's fault.
And this is we don't need more money.
Catherine Clark.
This is not a question of comprehensive reform, that the Republicans didn't want comprehensive reform. Reform is not necessary. The border needs to be secure. The people that are here who have come illegally need to go back home. They need to be deported. They are unsafe. You are encouraging this. If you just want more money for more shelters, you're just going to encourage more of this, and the problem will be exacerbated and get much worse. And for you to use that 15-year-old girl,
it's like the old Norm Macdonald bit where he at the end says, I think the rape is the worst part of this, or something to that effect, where it's like, to make it a poignant point where there's some sort of morality at the end of it, where their common sense does have to drive home.
Yep.
Laken Riley got murdered on the University of Georgia's campus. I keep coming back to this. She got her head beaten in and she tried to call the police.
Wait, sorry, I got to interrupt. Here's the headline again for Lake and Riley. Republican seize on alleged rape in Rockland shelter to further the fiction of a migrant crime wave. Yvonne, you should go down to the campus. Talk to that girl's parents.
I mean, Lakin's dead. This girl's going to have this migrant girl who's 15 years old that got raped in this shelter is going to have that trauma for the rest of her life. And it's serious. But this wouldn't be happening if we did not have the immigration and border insecurity policies of the Biden administration. It is serious. It's not funny. It's not funny at all. And sometimes I use humor to get over the really serious things. It's not funny. This girl is going to have that trauma and live with it for the rest of her life. And they shouldn't be here. This shouldn't have never happened. But in order for you to ignore that, in order for you to, I don't even know. I try to act like maybe she's rationalizing this because she's more mad at the Republicans noticing that this happened than the event that actually happened.
Correct. That's her point of view.
That to me means that you're missing something. Like if you're angry about that rather than the event that it happened, and whether or not the state of Massachusetts can really handle what's going on here, because like now this is a legal problem, right? Like the state of Massachusetts is now going to have to criminally handle this case. And that's taxpayer money. More taxpayer money for an event that should have never happened. I just don't know what to say to these people. Like, it's not funny. It's not funny, and you're the one who's being flippant. It's not. It is serious because right now that means the federal government's border and immigration policy is affecting state and local issues. Like that. That's another part of this aspect that a lot of people in Massachusetts don't really want to acknowledge. And I think that that's really what is happening here as well. Like she doesn't like that we're noticing what's happening. Like that's also what she's mad about. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm going to overall say this. For me, when Laken Riley was murdered, and the news came out that this guy was an illegal immigrant and he had been in New York and he had been arrested or had some sort of interaction with the police where he could have gotten deported because of what happened in New York City, but he couldn't get deported because New York is a what, Jeff?
Sanctuary city.
Because New York is a sanctuary city, this guy went down to Georgia and he murdered a girl. Yep. He beat her head in. He beat her head. You know, I could ask where the feminists are. They're not here. They're not going to be here. They don't care.
Feminists don't. Look, feminism is the idea of that feminism supports women. No.
The women who actually promote actual feminism, they do care. The women who say that they promote feminism don't actually care. They don't care because it's politics. Yeah. So this girl, her head beaten in on the University of Georgia's campus and tried to call 911 and she died. Yep. And Biden couldn't even say her name correctly.
Yep.
He couldn't even.
Let's not forget the State of the Union where he did say killed by an illegal, and there was a whole pearl clutching affair.
And Democrats were more
Castro.
Joaquin Castro.
Oh, was it?
Democrats were more angry about the fact that he used the term illegal than the fact that this girl died.
So I want to show
that's insane to me. That stuff is where, you sit here and you look at Biden versus Trump. Okay. And I will be straightforward. You look at Biden versus Trump. And at this point, Jeff, I don't care about the media and Donald Trump anymore. I don't care. I don't care about going online and defending Donald Trump because he says stupid shit. And if I do that all day long, I'm going to sit on the internet and not live my life. Yeah. That stuff is boring to me. Donald Trump does this tango with the media where he either loves them and hates them at different points. I don't care to play that game anymore. At the end of the day, Laken Riley died because of Joe Biden's immigration and border security policies.
Yep.
And that's what puts me in lean Trump. Okay. I don't care about the mishmash of this bullshit anymore. That policy is causing people to die.
Yeah. And I want to point this out. This is on screen. I saw this a couple days ago, and I want to confirm this, but from Bill Milligan, who's a national correspondent from Fox News, at least that's what it says on his X profile. Breaking, per DHS sources to me and somebody else, the Haitian man arrested for raping 15-year-old disabled girl at a migrant hotel in Massachusetts Wednesday night came to the U.S. via the Biden administration's parole program for Haitians, which allowed him to fly into New York City, JFK Airport, New York City, direct from Haiti. And it goes on. So the Biden administration's controversial CHNV parole program allows up to 30,000 Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans to fly into the U.S. after they've supposedly been vetted and have a sponsor in the U.S. So I'm going on the basis that that's true. I don't know that. I need to dig more into that, and if I'm incorrect, I will say so.
Right now,
but the idea but do I have this right? That the Biden administration has a fucking parole program for foreign criminals to be paroled into the United States. That is fucking insane. Insane. And I got to deal with Yvonne fucking Abraham saying that Republican sees, you ghoul.
Again, the worst part of this is that you notice not about the rape, not about the crime, right? Like that to me is like it's not funny. Like it's not even, I like to say this on Twitter a lot. It's not funny, but it's funny. Like no. Like this is not funny, but like we can see the inconsistency. And
I'm so angry.
This girl is going to have that for the rest of her life. And the fact that I actually didn't know that, Jack, that if this program exists, that we can have a parole program where criminals are allowed to come into our country from foreign countries. By the way, Haiti right now is like descending into complete chaos and anarchy. Seems like their entire country is breaking down, and I'm not using that to say that we need to allow Haitians into our country. I think the opposite, because I think that instability causes a lot of problems. But you see states like Florida, you see states like Texas, you see states like New Mexico and Arizona and California having to deal with this because they're border states. So what these people from these countries are going to do is go into Mexico. And because Biden got rid of the stay in Mexico order, that the Trump administration did very good foreign policy work in order for us to have, I will say.
Sure.
It's gone. And they're exploiting our asylum system. They're exploiting these programs that nobody knows about.
They're loopholes,
these loopholes to get into the country. And then we have a rape. And then the state of Massachusetts is going to have to handle this now. Yeah. So it's, but if you're normal, if you have a fully functioning brain, all this other stuff, if your first reaction is that you get angry at people noticing this, you don't care about what happened. Yeah. You don't care about the overall issue. You care about the politics of it.
Yep.
And that is not sustainable. This is the reason why Democrats in Donald Trump have their perfect opponent, right? He says a lot of things that are crazy, all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, he says Laken Riley's name. And I know that his border policy behind him is going to be straightforward and strict. So we don't have these incidences happening again.
Let me say this right now. It's like you wanted Donald Trump to be your opponent. Well, you're going to get him. And he has a very good shot of winning because you're that bad at governing, and your policies, which we could do a whole nother episode on why these policies exist, because I think there's only nefarious intention behind it, and people who are too stupid to know any better that back these policies. I emailed our party chair, Amy, last night when this came out, because I read it, I was so pissed. I'm so pissed because Yvonne Abraham calls her out in the piece, and it's infuriating because this, not just Abraham, but the Globe and the media establishment wants to, demonize you if you're normal, if you want law and order and a safe, civilized society. That's it. They want to demonize you because you go against this insane policy by the Democrat Party. It is insane. No, this CHNV parole policy. I mean, if this turns out to be true in any way, shape, or form, and we lose this election, we just 1,000% deserve it. There is no other country in the world that would have this bonkers of an immigration policy. It's absolutely crackpot.
I've been to France, Jeff, and in the last year, and I have actually seen their immigration border patrol at work. I've actually seen the American one at work in Texas, so I'm not going to shit on them. They have a really hard job.
Yeah.
But they're also restrained by a lot of rules that Congress passes and the president signs, and also even executive orders. I have never seen anything like what border police did in France here. It was hardcore, straightforward, and it was turn around and go away.
Yeah. I guess there's another topic. Trump said bloodbath. People took it out of context. Media turned on him again. They got him as the nominee. Now they turn on him. It'll work. Yeah, we're going to call it out. You're going to make me defend what he actually said in context. Sure, it wasn't bloodbath like the media wants it, but it doesn't matter. They get to take it out of context, and the people who aren't paying attention will now vote for Biden instead. So there you go. That's the
I guess my thing on this is that we're on year 7 of defending every little thing that Donald Trump says. We're on year 7 of it. During the primary, Donald Trump wooed the media. He absolutely did. It's not even arguable. And Maggie Haberman, or however you pronounce her last name, Haberman, is Donald Trump's best friend. And whenever she has some sort of tip or whatever she posts on Twitter, you can expect that it's from Donald Trump himself. Mm-hmm. I'm not playing this game anymore. I just don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I'm not going to play this game anymore. What he said, what he take into context, blah, blah, blah. I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah. We're 7 years into it. I'm not doing it anymore. If he wins the election, okay. If he loses the election, that is on him. I am done making excuses, because at this point, again, we have girls getting their head beaten in on the University of Georgia's campus by illegal immigrants who are protected by sanctuary cities in New York City from deportation. And I need Republicans to win elections. That's all I care about. Everything. I'm not going to play this tit for tat game on Twitter where I'm defending every little thing that Donald Trump says. He should be accountable for what he says, and he needs to unite the party. Bottom line. There's no other thing about this. Yeah, that is his role. He is supposed to do this. Stop wasting time going after Ron DeSantis. Yeah. In your rallies. It is stupid. Focus on the message.
This should be the only message.
You have this high polling pattern. The thing is you're pulling above Biden right now. He is sitting on a mountain of cash. He will start unloading it.
Yeah.
But you have this high polling pattern where people, even normal people, average people, are seeing Biden not being able to handle this presidency. And you're going into a rally just shitting on Republicans again.
Yep.
Message discipline. That's all I care about.
But here's the thing: it doesn't even matter because he's not going to do it. This is the point. It's and by the way, just for an aside, we know that the media would do this if it were any Republican candidate. They'd take something out of context.
But yeah, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to go over that. We get it.
We get it. But with Trump, it's we could sit here all day and say what he should do. He's not going to do it. In 2 weeks he'll be doing Ron DeSanctimonious, and we'll all yawn. And here's the thing: you and I may hold our nose and vote for him because whatever. I mean, he does have policies that would be better than what Biden is doing now, especially involved with immigration. Right. But we're not going to get anything else.
I'm looking at it alone because we're dealing with two bowls of shit here right now. I don't like Donald Trump. I don't want to defend him. I am not going to waste my energy ever doing this again. But Laken Riley died on UGA's campus because of immigration policies brought on by the Biden administration. I know that Donald Trump would reverse those policies because not having this murderer deported in New York City before he could commit this crime, Laken Riley would still be alive. Yeah. I'm just throwing it out there. And he also should have never come into our country. That's also another factor.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's just end it right here. Okay. Well, I mean, look, I'm just absolutely livid.
At the
Globe for printing it at Ivani.
It's so just it's the thing is it's absurd, right? It's not funny but it is absurd. You're more angry. This person is more angry at the fact that we noticed that this crime happened, and rather than the crime that happened. Okay, this is horrifying crime. This is a horrifying crime. Murder is horrific. Rape is horrific. Yep. But you're more angry that we noticed it happened and the details surrounding the horrific act than being mad about what happened. And that's absurd. It is absurd. But it's not absurd in a funny way. It's absurd in a very sad and angry way.
Yeah. All right. Okay. You know what? We'll talk to everybody next week or next time. And keep praying. That's the only thing you can do right now. All right.
Totally.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.